Hi, welcome to the Focused Brains channel. Today we are doing Assertions and Reasons of Economics chapter Sectors of Indian Economy. Stay tuned for more MCQs and assertions and reasons of other chapters. For now, let's get started.
Question 1 Assertion. Agriculture is the most labor absorbing sector in India. Reason. The secondary and tertiary sectors have still failed to provide more employment opportunities to a majority of the Indian people, so the people are forced to engage themselves in agriculture. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is agriculture sector is the primary sector of Indian economy. More than half of the working population is employed in agricultural sector. Because enough jobs are not provided by the secondary and tertiary sector, employment growth is less in secondary and tertiary sector. Question number 2 Assertion. Employment opportunities in the organized sector have been expanding slowly. Reason. Many organized sector enterprises work in the manner of unorganized sector, and the organized sectors do not want to give high wages to the workers. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is it is right that many organized sector enterprises work in the manner of unorganized sector. They adopt such strategies to evade taxes and refuse to follow laws that protected workers. Flexibility in labor laws means the enterprises can hire laborers when they are needed, so money saves get profit. Question 3 Assertion. In India, the primary sector is the largest employer. Reason. The demand for services has increased enormously. The right option is B. Both assertion and reason are true, but reason is not the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is the primary sector remains the largest employer in India because not enough jobs were created in the secondary and tertiary sectors. However, the demand for services has increased owing to increase in demand for education, health, communication and transportation, development of agriculture sector, increase in level of income and development of information and technology sector. Question number 4 Assertion. There are several goods and services that the society needs. However, the private sector does not produce all of them. Reason. Private sector is profit driven. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation of this is some of the services such as defense require a lot of spending and do not provide any profit. Therefore, private sector does not invest in such activities. Also, certain services such as public transportation and irrigation facilities require massive spending which is beyond the capacity of private sector. Question 5 Assertion. There is also a need for protection and support of the workers in the unorganized sector. Reason. Workers in an unorganized sector get paid really less and are heavily exploited. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is the workers of the unorganized sector are often exploited and not paid a fair wage. Their earnings are low and not regular. These jobs are not secure and have no other benefits. They also face social discrimination. So it is necessary to protect and support the unorganized sector. Question number 6 Assertion. The organized sector offers jobs that are the most sought after. Reason. Because the sector offers regular employment and assured work. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is Organized sector cover those enterprises or places of work where the terms of employment are regular and therefore people have assured work. They are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations which are given in various laws such as Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act. It is called organized sector because it has some formal processes and procedures. Question number 7, assertion. When calculated the total value of goods and services produced in a country, the value of all goods and services at each stage of production should be calculated. Reason: as each stage of production, some value is added to a good or service, therefore, the value added at each stage of production is added to derive the total value of goods and services in an economy. The right option is E. Both assertion and reason are false. Explanation for this says when we calculate the total value of goods and services produced in a country, the value of final goods and services is calculated. If we add the value of goods and services at each stage of production, we will get an inflated GDP as the same value would be included multiple times. Question 8, assertion. Mohan is a shopkeeper who pays his taxes on time. He has employed two workers, Rakesh and Raghu, in his shop. He pays them well. However, none of the workers get any paid leaves in the year. Reason: Rakesh and Raghu are employed in an unorganized sector. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is if Rakesh and Raghu were employed in organized sector, they would receive benefits such as paid leaves, medical insurance, and pension schemes from the employer. Mohan is not following labor laws as he does not provide any paid leaves to his employees in the year. Question 9, assertion. Service sector has the largest share in the GDP among all three sectors but considerable less number of employees. Reason: service sector is underdeveloped. The right option is C. Assertion is true but reason is false. Explanation for this is reason is false because service sector is not underdeveloped. During the last 30 years in the Indian economy, not enough jobs have been created in the secondary and tertiary sectors, although their output has increased many folds. As a result, more than half of the workers in the economy are working in the primary sector, producing only a quarter of the GDP. Question 10, assertion. Under Manrega 2005, those who are able to and are in the need to work in rural areas are granted 100 days of employment in a year. Reason: the central government in India made a law implementing the right to work in about 625 districts of India. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is Manrega guarantees 100 days of wage employment in a financial year to a rural household whose adult members volunteer to do unskilled manual work. Moreover, if government fails to provide employment, it is bound to give certain unemployment allowances to the people. Hence, it is a legal entitlement to be employed under Manrega. Question 11, assertion. Leela works 5 days a week, receives her income on the last day of each month, and gets medical facilities from her firm. Reason: Leela is working in organized sector. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is the firms in organized sector are registered by the government and have to follow its rules and regulations which are given in the various laws such as Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, etc. Question 12, assertion. Government needs to pay attention to aspects of human development such as availability of safe drinking water, housing facilities for the poor, food and nutrition. Reason: private sector cannot offer development. The right option is C. Assertion is true but reason is false. Explanation for this is it is true that the private sector is guided by the motive of earning profit, but its role in encouraging countries' growth and economic development cannot be overstated. The private sector is critical to economic growth, but it cannot and does not act alone for the development of the country. Question 13. Assertion. Not every good or service that is produced and sold needs to be counted to know the total production in each sector. Reason. The value of final goods already includes the value of all the intermediate goods. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is not every good or service that is produced and sold needs to be counted to know the total production in each sector. If it is, there will be the problem of double counting and the value of GDP will be overestimated. The value of final goods already includes the value of all intermediate goods. Question 14. Assertion. GDP, gross domestic product, shows how big the economy is. Reason. GDP of a country is the value of all intermediate goods and services produced within a country during a particular year. The right option is C. Assertion is true but reason is false. Explanation for this is GDP is the total sum of the value of all final goods and services produced by all the sectors within a country during a particular year. Reason is wrong because GDP is not the sum of intermediate goods and services produced. Question 15. Assertion. Underemployment can also be called disguised unemployment. Reason. Each person is doing some work, but no one is fully employed according to their true potential. This type of unemployment is hidden, unlike the common type of unemployment, where the job seeker clearly has no job. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is when more than required number of people are engaged in productive activities, it is called underemployment. In this case, work done by a person is hidden, and even if the person is removed from employment, the production will remain the same. Therefore, underemployment is also known as disguised unemployment. Question 16. Assertion. Agriculture is an activity of organized sector in India. Reason. Most of the workers working in agriculture are employed only during the harvesting and sowing season. The right option is D. Assertion is false but reason is true. Explanation for this is agriculture is an activity of unorganized sector and is not regulated by the government because land belongs to an individual. Hence farmer or whoever owns the land hires workers as and when required. The workers in this case does not have the facility of fixed working hours. He may or may not be getting adequate wage and other benefits such as pension, medical facility, paid leave, etc. Moreover, agriculture is seasonal in nature, so it is right to keep it under unorganized sector. Question 17. Assertion. Rakesh is an educated and skilled worker who earns a high monthly salary as he is employed in a private bank in a city. Reason. All service sectors in India are growing extremely well, and each individual engaged in any kind of tertiary activity earns a high income. The right option is C. Assertion is true but reason is false. Explanation for this is in India, not the entire service sector is growing equally well. Service sector in India employs many different kinds of people. At one end, there are a limited number of services that employ highly skilled and educated workers. At the other end, there are a very large number of workers engaged in services such as small shopkeepers, repair person, transport persons, etc. These people barely manage to earn a living. They perform these services because no alternative opportunities for work are available to them. Question 18. Assertion. GDP shows how big an economy is. Reason. GDP is the value of all goods and services produced within the domestic territory of a country in a particular year. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is GDP is the value of all final goods and services produced within a country. A higher GDP is indicative of higher production level and higher economic activity. Also, a higher GDP implies people of the country are earning more, so it is indicative of the size of an economy. Question number 19. Assertion. In India, over the 40 years between 1973-74 and 2013-14, while production in all the three sectors has increased, it has increased the most in the tertiary sector. Reason. Tertiary sector is the only organized sector in the economy, so the government spends a lot of money for creating jobs in the tertiary sector. The right option is C. Assertion is true, but reason is false. Explanation for this is there are several reasons for increased production in tertiary sector, such as increase in demand for education, health, communication and transportation, development of agriculture sector, increase in level of income and development of information and technology sector. Question 20. Assertion. Reliance Industries is a privately owned firm. Reason. Government is a major stakeholder in Reliance Industries. The right option is C. Assertion is true but reason is false. Explanation for this is Reliance Industry is a privately owned firm as the assets and delivery of goods and services in Reliance is controlled by private individuals but not by the government. Question 21. Assertion. The development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of service sector. Reason. As the primary and secondary sectors develops, the demand for transport, storage structures, banks, insurance, etc. increases. The right option is A. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is the correct explanation of assertion. Explanation for this is as the primary and secondary sector develops, the demand for the above mentioned tertiary activities increase. Not just the demand for mentioned services increases, but as individuals become better off, the demand for education, health services, professional training, and communication also increases. Question 22. Assertion. An individual who manufactures flour from wheat is engaged in primary sector. Reason. When some process of manufacturing is used, the product is a part of secondary sector. The right option is D. Assertion is false but reason is true. Explanation for this is an individual who manufactures flour from wheat is engaged in secondary sector as the products that are not manufactured directly from nature but require some manufacturing process are a part of secondary sector.